All right, thanks for joining. John Blevins is going to kick us off for today's meeting. So to go through some prioritization, we need your input again. It's that time to look at what are the prioritized topics for Q4 for the Level Up Sales Enablement webcast session. So John, I'll let you kick us off today.
Thank you so much, David. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having a great week so far. Wanted to pivot over to the notes document here and check out a few things. We created an issue for async voting on the topics for next quarter. So we have, I think, 8 slots available, 2 sessions that canceled, and 3 that we always do, like the competitive one. So what I would like to do is if you click on, if you look at C on our notes document here, if you click here, you can see a list of all the issues that are currently open, organized by popularity. So we can, if you like, take a moment and upvote on those now, or if you would like to do that async, that's fine as well, but we need to get that prioritization done soon. So what would y'all like to do? Would you like to take a moment to vote on these, or would you like to async that?
I'll vote now.
All right.
Can you give me a real quick sense on the art of what's possible with GitLab? Is that customer success stories? I can click on it too, but.
I've got a little bit of context there, and team, feel free to chime in. So this one, David Wells brought it up, but it's partnering with his TAM to have a series of just kind of educational sessions to help educate existing customers on, additional stages, additional features, additional capabilities, just to warm up accounts.
Got it. Probably more geared toward existing clients that have some level of adoption though, right? Of GitLab? Okay, correct. Thank you.
So while y'all are taking a moment to vote on that, I just wanted to say one more thing about the sales enablement sessions. We do need to kind of have a pipeline of sessions for each coming quarter. So if there's anything on this list that you see is missing that you think should be there, if you look at 1B on the notes document, you can really easily click here to open an issue. And if you'd like to open that issue, we've got a template for that. And this is what it looks like. You don't need to put a ton of detail, just, what is the description, give it a title. So very quick and dirty, and then I can follow up with you to kind of hash out the learning objectives and content and things like that. But if there's anything on this that you see missing, I would love it if you would open an issue for us on that.
So John, I know there's several folks that can't attend today. What is I know some folks are doing it live, but others will do this async. What is the deadline that you want to provide of when we're going to then look at it and share it back with sales execs?
If we could, I think if we could do it by the end of the week, that would be great, because we have 2 more sessions left in this quarter, one this week and one next week. So if we could finish the prioritization and voting this week, and then share that back and finalize the schedule next week with execs, that would be good. That way we are not putting anyone in the hot seat for the first session of the next quarter as far as planning and working out the details goes. We want to give them plenty of heads up time to work it out. Does that sound good?
Yep, I think it's good. And for folks that are with us today, any feedback on this process? Do you like it? Is there any other suggestions you'd make for John to consider as we think about how we do this in the future?
Go ahead. Go, Tommy.
Yeah, so I know that this is a really hard thing. The timing on some of this stuff is a little rough. We're trying to close up an end of quarter with 3 weeks left. That's my only thing. And I know there's never a good time sometime to fit this in, but we continue to do this stuff right up next to near an end of a quarter. And I like I said, I heard what John just said about kind of stacking on top of the next section, but this is starting to get rough.
That's fair, Tom.
I mean, we have this, we have the assessment test of 32 questions, and we have the going through the videos thing. And so this is now 3 things with 2 weeks left in the quarter. That's my only thing.
And hopefully this is a 5 or 10 minute exercise. It's not meant to be onerous, but I get it. It all starts to add up.
I think Tom might be responding to the ask for us to do this training right now versus to look through and up level some things. So from my perspective, this is a good way to do it. It allows you to sort of go shopping. I see some things that are gathering momentum, which are the ones that I had a chance to review that I think are going to be really, really relevant. One that I'll just make a plug for if you haven't seen it already is the GitLab product tiers training refresher. I can't think of something better for us to all remind our sellers about, especially if we're going to go from 4 tiers to 3. I think anything around that product tier might be a really good use of everybody's time. And then the deeper discovery and deal qualification just kind of jump out at me as sales managers. But I like this way of doing it.
Yes, format is good.
Hey, David, I was going to suggest that we might want to broaden this a little bit and go to maybe the top 2 or 3 sellers from the East and the top 2 or 3 sellers from the West. Those people know why they're doing well. They know what they're doing well. So having them take a look at these topics and say, yeah, I'd like to learn more about this, or the people that come to me and ask me questions ask a lot about this topic or that topic.
Yep, good feedback, and makes it EMEA, APAC, commercial, same idea, right? All right, thank you. If you have additional feedback, please let John know. I know he's open to this, and we'll continue to iterate to make it lightweight, but also make sure we're prioritizing the topics that are going to have impact to the results as we deliver these informal enablement sessions in each quarter. All right, John, good to go to the next topic?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for upvoting. We only have the 5 sessions really available for prioritization for our regular 4 that we're always doing. So thank you for that. I think we have what we need already. Wanted to pivot really quickly to the DevSecOps Learning Path survey analysis. Don't know if y'all have seen this before, but I'm going to just stick to this executive summary here to give you a really quick overview. In a nutshell, this has been really well received by the salespeople. There was some concern about the time commitment or the workload, but with 60% of the people who took the course responding to the survey, so 77 out of about 130 people who were asked to do it, 84% of those are saying that the workload was appropriate. So we have lots of positive comments around the format of the course, even the ask for doing the pitch video. And just a couple areas of opportunity here. This was announced to more people than just the intended audience. Unfortunately, that was our mistake despite our best efforts using a communications plan. But we, as you know, are rolling out a new learning experience platform, EdCast, next quarter. And those role-based learning assignments will eliminate that problem for us. It'll make reporting a lot more painless for us and probably a lot more painless for you as well. So we're looking forward to divorcing Google Classroom and getting into EdCast. And then as far as some recommendations go, we want input from y'all on how we can better communicate this and enlist your help. And we're thinking that this is a good opportunity to rinse and repeat for our other learning paths, probably starting with Agile if it is ready per product marketing. But I would love any feedback that y'all have in general on this learning path that you've gotten from your team members, and any suggestions that you have for us.
The team loved the training because it was bite size. You could pop in, do a couple of the modules, do the quiz, bounce back out if you needed to. Sometimes salespeople have a hard time sitting down and committing 60 to 90 minutes, whatever it is, to do the whole thing. Some could, but I think you guys really took the advice of breaking it into individual discrete pieces. I liked that a lot. And the fact that at the end you had to practice your craft, I think that was a really good way to do it. I'm curious about the comment that we should ingest more fun. I assume that person meant inject more fun in the training.
Yeah, I think using incentives and things like that, whether it's being memorialized in sales onboarding or perhaps a small monetary reward for best video or first to finish, something like that, we could consider. But
because the attraction of just job retention, that's not enough.
I guess.
Okay.
But a couple things I wanted to point out to you all here that kind of surprised me. 56% of respondents reported only a fair or satisfactory level of knowledge about this at the start of the course. 74% saying that the course had a good or excellent contribution to learning. And, so as far as the demonstrable improvement that's been made here, at the end of the course, we asked, on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you in making that DevSecOps elevator pitch now? And again, the real point of this is to kind of help people find that either point of entry or expansion with new accounts and supporting pipelines. So, being able to have that conversation, being able to make that pitch, being comfortable talking about security, talking about Ultimate, and telling the full GitLab story and context is really important. And if I could direct your attention to anything on this, it would be the respondent comments on the right. Lots and lots and lots of really positive comments. In fact, we plan to send out a thank you email to the salespeople very soon that says, hey, we listened to your suggestions about the CI course, and we've incorporated them into this course. To your point, Tim, making the learning pieces smaller. One of the suggestions was to have, small bite-sized quizzes instead of one big quiz, like also having a pitch rubric, which we are asking you sales managers. I know you're very busy, and sorry about this, but it kind of ties into that course management managers of coach program, that you actually listen to these pitch videos and provide qualitative feedback to your team members on their pitches. So remember, they could have done either a 5-minute or less pitch per the rubric, or submitted a call recording via Chorus. So we're asking that if you can, to review these and provide feedback for your team members by I think Wednesday, October 21st is the 2-week mark for that. So any questions about that or the pitches? I think
John, on a previous slide, you showed 59% completion, which tells me 40% of people who had this assigned didn't do it, or did they not complete the post result or the post training survey? Can you go back 2 slides?
It was 60% completed the survey. So 60% completed the optional survey. As far as the course goes, we had about almost 100% completion on the quizzes, and about 80% completion of the pitch deck video or call upload. So, it gets to a point where I'm not trying to herd cats and get people to do these things. So as y'all follow up with them with the expectation that you're listening to their video, maybe you'll catch those stragglers. I think that's fine. But, one question that I would have for the team is, what do we do, if anything, about people who don't complete mandatory training? I feel like we're going to catch those people in this net with y'all reviewing the videos, but that's an outstanding question, right? And talking about like incentivizing completion of these courses through, memorialization and sales onboarding, or a field cert program, or a monetary reward for first to finish, best videos, whatever. Maybe that could better motivate people. Maybe we could do better to communicate again. That was some of the feedback we got last time, was that our communication wasn't really on point. So we created a whole communications plan And we did better there, but we missed the mark by using email distribution lists. So again, a lot of these pains will be addressed when we pivot to EdCast. Do y'all have any questions about, the expectation of reviewing these pitch videos or call recordings and providing just qualitative feedback like, hey, this is really good and here's an area of opportunity. Quick and dirty, doesn't have to be anything too onerous, just get that conversation started.
The only question I guess I have is maybe a coaching for me on this. Some of them were actual live calls with a customer, right? And so it didn't fit like for instance, some of us just did a quick presentation that followed kind of the template as to what the pitch was, right? The others were just live with a customer that they, not in a bad way, but went all over the board, right? Because you're obviously not, you don't have the customer square in a box to say, hey, I'm going to say this, you're supposed to say this back. So that's the only thing is I wasn't sure how, at the end of the day, it was a great call. Maybe didn't follow the exact steps, but it was a great call. We got what we wanted. And so that's kind of how I was going to coach it, or vice versa. It wasn't that good of a call, but that was the only thing that was tough was taking that rubric and applying it to a wide open live call that sometimes doesn't go exactly how you want it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I did actually listen to a lot of those calls. Over 30 people did actually publicly post links to their course calls, which I think is like a great kind of secondary learning piece, social learning piece that all these other people required to take the course were freely able to click on these and kind of hear those best practices that likely senior people had put out into the universe. But on the flip side of that, while those live calls are harder because they're not 5 minutes, they're longer. I would recommend maybe asking like, hey, where's the part where you talk about DevSecOps, or what's the part you want me to listen to? Or as far as, aligning that with command of the message in the rubric, we have taught everyone this and we've been doing this for a year now. So if anything, it could be a good pulse check of the real adoption for the value-based conversation and kind of that whole framework. So I think you're absolutely right. It's not meant to be perfectly aligned to the rubric. It's just meant to give you an opportunity to say, hey, this was good, and you can improve here by talking about metrics or talking about negative outcomes to the business, things like that, as it relates to this use case. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I have a comment, if I may. So one of my sales completed a video, but the video was not really in line with the intended instructions. And so I watched it and, I recommended to the rep that, that this is really what the video instruction was looking for. He kind of had a funny comment. He was like, well, I got 10 out of 10 on the submission. And so I realized it's not practical for any one person to watch all of these videos for that scoring. But from a communication standpoint, we might just want to kind of be a little bit more clear about when we are communicating what's complete and what's not complete, what that really means. Because there was a little bit of confusion there. Because like was said, the video was not, it was a good video, but it turned out to be an extremely high level video of a very, very broad pitch as opposed to the specifics that were asked for in the instructions. So, and really his response was, but I got a 10 out of 10 on it on the submission. What's wrong with it? So just FYI, it was kind of a weird thing for me to kind of counter to say, well, yes, but no.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Jim. Thank you for pointing that out. The idea was that it was a completion grade. You either did it or you didn't, and then the feedback that would be provided would be strictly qualitative and get away from, you're a 7 out of 10 or you're an 8 out of 10, whatever, because that can kind of add stress to the equation of this type of thing. And ultimately, we just want people to practice, but I think you're right. We can definitely do better to communicate that, or maybe even kind of reimagine how we do scoring, whether it's numerical or whatnot. I know in EdCast, there will be an option for you to actually go in there and review the video in that platform and provide feedback there. So it will be a lot easier for y'all in the future. But I want to close this out to respect the other topics in this meeting. One really positive thing here, 92% of people reported very good or excellent confidence in their ability to clearly articulate DevSecOps pitch after taking the course. So that's obviously a huge improvement from where we started with this. We do want to try to find a way to measure DevSecOps pipeline, compare that to past data. So we are looking at how we can see those level 4 results from this and ultimately really be able to glean the true effectiveness of it. But again, if y'all look at anything, I would say look at these respondent comments. And if you want to look at the actual survey itself, you can click here and you can see all the comments unfiltered. I tried to take out the ones that were a common theme. But if you are curious, I would recommend you look at that. Anyway, we, in the interest of transparency, do plan to send this document out to the team just to kind of reinforce like, hey, we listened to your suggestions for the last one. We incorporated it in this one, and we have more suggestions that we will be incorporating again into the next one. So thank you all so much for your time. Any other questions, or are we good to move on to the next topic?
Yeah. I think in the interest of time, we'll move on. Thank you, John. Just as a little bit of context, and then I'll pass it off to Kelly on this next one. This stemmed from a conversation with McBee, with Pyle and O'Neill about continuing to reinforce and sustain behaviors and skills around command of the message and MEDPIC, and how do we continue to up-level our capabilities, mature our capabilities. And so McBee's request is, hey, let's continue to advance our maturity around these opportunity consults so we can say with confidence, for example, X% of my top deals have had an opportunity consult in the last 30 days, right? Be able to do that at the ASM level, at the RD level, the VP level, globally, et cetera. So with that context, we've been working to say, all right, how would we operationalize that? So Kelly, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, David. So I've included the op consult criteria, which you can read on your own. It's a little different for enterprise and for commercial sales. I think what's most important to understand is that we've really tried to fold into the process a real ease of use here. We don't want you to have to go out of your way to do something additional or separate. So what we came up with was in the command plan, we are going to build a manager review section with one area that's going to be called review notes. This is only available to managers. So the reps won't be able to edit it. It's just editable by their managers. What's nice about this is it solves the problem of having a date and time stamp. So you're going to have a running audit trail of when those op consults happened, and that gives visibility at a higher level as well. One consideration that I just want to draw your attention to, if you're in that section and you're editing it multiple times in a day, there's no way to differentiate between those individual edits versus unique times that you're actually conducting an opportunity consult. So just know that if you go in there and edit, you're going to get a timestamp for each time you edit it. So just be mindful of that. The second piece to help support this OKR is we have observation forms, and I've added links to both the enterprise version from Force Management, and then what I have sort of recalibrated to fit the commercial sales organization. We're working with Jack and his team to fold those into Salesforce so that you don't have to go into Chorus and fill them out. It sounds like the preference for most sales leaders is to have everything co-located in Salesforce. So we should be creating an object so you can just add in your observations and help people level up their skills. As a next step, the manager review section should be finished by the end of this week. Getting the observation form into Salesforce is going to happen probably by the end of next week. We're meeting with Jack next week to go over the specific parameters. And if anybody has any additional input that they'd like to share with us, let me know and we'll make sure that we build those into the specs for this project. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okie dokie.
Thank you, Kelly. Will you please, Kelly, in the doc, just for those that are that miss this and maybe just look at the notes doc, add the date, the timing elements that you just mentioned?
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you. I know we're at time, but I will say in my parting words here, I just wanted to share. In number 4, I linked to a deck that has some information from Force Management about observations from the latest wave of manager certification, but just wanted to end with congrats to the names listed here. So James, John, Jennifer, Ralph, Adam, and Hayden, all of you successfully completed the manager certification, the manager training certification. So congrats on completing that. I know it was a big time investment. Force Management said, yeah, you've all demonstrated your excellence in understanding those concepts and reinforcing those with your teams. So nice job. We are at time. There's some additional information in these slides that you can check out asynchronously. Thank you all. Really appreciate it. Good luck closing out the quarter.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.